Hi, Richie here. This is my short video, hopefully short video, on how to speed up the conveyancing process. Just from my experience, I've tried to beat the stamp duty holiday as it was, which was due to end at the end of March. I managed to get my conveyancing through within around about 8 weeks from offer to ready to complete. And this is some of the things that I've done in order to speed things up. So before and after the offer, I would recommend, I'm not trying to teach you to suck eggs, but get your mortgage and principal sorted out, stick to that budget, unless you've got extra cash to throw in, that is your budget. Once you have an offer agreed, then get onto your mortgage company as soon as you possibly can, get that appointment made so that you can get the actual mortgage agreed. An agreement in principle isn't an agreed mortgage. You then need to go through the process, which takes a couple of hours with your mortgage broker to make sure that you have actually got that mortgage in place, ready to go for the exchange date. If you're having a mortgage, clearly you'll have to have a survey done by the mortgage company to make sure the house is actually worth what you've offered. For me, that took about 15 minutes. It didn't take very long at all. They don't generally go and have a look at the house now. But if you want to have another survey done, more structural survey, which is recommended, then perhaps you want to go with an independent. Now, these guys are busy. I would recommend getting one before you put your offer in, see what his availability is like, see what they can do, so that you're not waiting weeks, potentially months, for a survey to be done and find out that the roof's fallen in. So get your survey lined up, get someone that you're confident with, that you know have your best interests at heart. The next one's a bit of a funny one. Before I put my offer in, I established who the other side would be using as a solicitor. I prefer to use a local solicitor. It allows me to walk into the office if needs be and ask what's going on. If the other side are going to use one of the generic bigger firms, then I would expect that to take longer. Having sold a house recently, the other side used a generic firm, said they would never use that again, purely based on they are anonymous. You don't know who you're speaking to. It's very difficult to open lines of communication with them, and you are just a number in a massive spreadsheet of clients that they have. With a local solicitor, you will pay more, but you're talking £100 more in something that you're potentially spending hundreds of thousands of pounds on. I think it's worth it. Part of my negotiation was I would prefer that the seller used a local solicitor as opposed to a generic firm. Just my preference. The next thing, and this is what the major thing that sped up my searches, sped up my conveyancing, was I'd done all the searches myself. One of the biggest excuses that I've had from solicitors in the past is we are waiting for the searches. This is nonsense. I'm not here to bash solicitors at all, but and I think solicitors do a very good job. They are required, but searches do not take the length of time that solicitors say they do. My searches took me 2 days to come through, and the lead time on one of them was potentially 10 days, but it took 2. So when they are weeks into your conveyancing saying they are still waiting for the searches, then you need to question what your solicitor has been doing for the past couple of weeks. Like I say, mine took 2 days. Several of them took less than an hour to come through. Everything's online these days. So searches, what do you need? You need a local land charge search. And so I'll go through the list. You've got a local land charge search and a Con29. These both come from your local council. Dead easy to find. Google whatever your local council is. So mine was North Somerset. So I Googled North Somerset local land charge search, and lo and behold, it clicked me straight onto the website, and there's a form to fill in, which I'll go through in a minute. You also have a thing called a Con29. That comes from your local council as well. Then you have Con29DW. I believe that stands for domestic water. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments. Your environmental search and a chancel search. Please note that these are the searches that I needed for the area that I'm in. There are other searches that you may need depending on the area you're in. Do your own research. It is very easy to Google what you'll need. And you know, if you miss a search, that's what your solicitor's for. They'll put this search in, or just ask them, say, you know, what have I missed? And you can apply for that yourself. So if we have a look at the local land search in the Con29DW, like I say, I use North Somerset Council. They were very good. I actually phoned them up. It was around Christmas. Everything was very quiet, I believe. So gave them a call, and they were really, really helpful. You go through local land charge search form, property name, property number, so easy. Roadways. You also have, you know, there's nothing complicated about these forms. And then when you get to the bottom of the form, you click on LLC1 residential, because that's what you're buying, and a Con29 residential. And as you can see here, just over £100 gets you those two. The next thing that you will need to look at is a Con29DW. You can't get these from your local council. In my naivety, I seen domestic water, thought, well, Wessex supply the water here, so I'll just Google Wessex searches, and I came across this company called Wessex Searches, and found actually they can do all of the searches for you. As you can see here from the website, it's so easy to do. You've got your drainage and water inquiry, so there you go. It's not domestic water, it's drainage and water. Your chancel search, which I needed. Believe it or not, a chancel search is quite an archaic thing. I'm in two minds whether you actually need to do a chancel search. The chancel search itself costs £20. That tells you whether you need to, or whether your house is liable for any repairs to the local church. Sounds archaic, I know, but that's a law that we have in this country, and you know, you've got to find out if you're going to be liable for potentially hundreds of thousands of pounds of repairs on the church. If you find out that you are, you then take out an indemnity that costs £20. Only a solicitor can buy this indemnity. I tried. No company will sell it to you. You have to buy it through a solicitor. I have no idea why. And that costs you £20. So why not just buy the indemnity in the first place? Don't bother with the search, just buy an indemnity, take the risk. If you was liable for the church, then you was liable. If you wasn't, well, it's cost you the same to find out as it would have to find out if you was. So yeah, I'd done the chancel search, found out I was liable, had to pay £20, so it cost me £40 instead of 20. It just seems a little bit backward to me. The next thing is the environmental search. You want to know if your house is built on landfill, and various other things. A lot of the times, a lot of the stuff I found was stuff I already knew and I was comfortable with. My house wasn't built on landfill, by the way, but you know, there was a lot of stuff that I found out in searches that I already knew. Some things I found was relatively good information, like the house has hard water, so you check, well, what do I do about that? Well, actually, it means that you need to get certain cleaners for your dishwashers and tumble dryers and your washing machines, just to make sure that they don't get clogged up. And it's good information to have. Other searches that you may consider depending on the area you're buying in. You've got your flood risk, highways, so is anything going to be built in the area? You can actually do your local authority search through these. I didn't. I used my I used the local council. Mining is your area. Is your house built over a mine? So you know, could collapse in. And planning. Is HS2 going to be built in your garden? Is always something that's worthwhile knowing. Like I say, the only searches I needed to do for my conveyances to go through was my environmental search, ConDW, Chancel, local area search, and the Con29. So, like I say, these are the searches that I needed to do, not you. There may be other searches that you wish to do in your during your purchase of your house. I estimate that the cost of these searches was around about £50 more than if I'd purely used the solicitor. I think the solicitor was charging £200 and it cost me around about £250. But that was £50 well spent, because it meant that I had the searches in my hand and presented them to my solicitor before they even came back to work after the Christmas break. Believe it or not, my solicitor actually sent me a letter saying that they were waiting for the searches about 5 weeks into the conveyancing process. I then got back in touch with them and said, can you just tell me which ones you're missing, because I provided you the searches. They were very apologetic and said that was a generic letter that they send out. So solicitors will use searches as an excuse to say that they are waiting for something and for the conveyancing process to take longer. I chose to take that out of their hands, and it worked for me. Some of you may be in the same situation with the extension to the stamp duty holiday. If this has helped you, please give me a thumbs up. Like I say, this is my first video. As you can probably tell, it's quite amateurish. The pure aim of this, and potentially other videos that I might do, is just to help people out, and hopefully it works. I just want to finish by saying this is not by any means a way to do your own conveyancing. I believe that solicitors do a very valuable job. The £1,000 or so that you spend on your solicitor, in my eyes, is more of an insurance policy to ensure that the conveyancing has been done in a legal and above board way. So without your solicitor, I just think there's too many pitfalls in when you're spending hundreds of thousands of pounds. I certainly wouldn't want to take the chance that Uncle Albert's going to come marching over the hill and say, actually, I own that house. So it's not by any means solicitor bashing. They do a very valuable job. I'm just saying that the excuse that they are waiting for searches is not necessarily 100% accurate. I hope this helped. If it did, give me a thumbs up. Please add your comments below, and be nice. This is my first video. Bye.